Party people, what up, dude? What's good? What up? What's going on, man? What's going on in the chat? What's going on in the chat, man? We good. What's good? What's good? What's good? It is Tuesday. It is time for a live stream. Is this? Nah, they report next week. I was about to say, is this the last Tuesday before training camp? Excuse me, but it's not. It's not. It is not the last Tuesday before training camp. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on. I got a frog in my I don't know what they call it, frog in your throat. But we are going to talk today about some training camp information leading up into training camp. So appreciate you tuning in and joining your boy. Let's get into this chat. My guy, what's up, Doug? What up, Doe? Vernon Johnson says, speak life into my team. Mr. Luke Cage in this thing. What up, son? So I already know what to do. Come enjoy. Hit the like button, please. Please hit that like button. If you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Panthers content on this channel. We've been doing it for a long, long time. My guy, Alex Finkill, man. What's good, bro? What's up, man? Good to see you, dog. Good to see you, bro. Long time no speak. Raw Walker, what up? String Bean, what up? What up, though? Keller, what up, though? Tip of the spear, what up, though? Y'all guys, make sure y'all check in when you come through. I'll holler at you. We are going to talk about a little bit of Panthers news, but the main topic, of course, is the title of this video, as you can see. 5 questions going in to Panthers training camp. Now, obviously, everybody's 0-0 right now. Everybody is 0-0 across the NFL. Optimism is not going to be any higher. It's not. Optimism is not going to be any higher at any other point of the year than now and then training camp, because it's all about speculation. It's all about hope. It's all about dreams. It's all about desire. Who cares what happened last year? Last year is gone. Who cares that we won 2 games? Who cares that we're probably in a rebuild? It don't matter. All that is on paper. And this year, what all happened last year, it ain't gonna losing all them games ain't gonna help us win this year, and losing all them games ain't gonna make us lose this year either. It's a whole new slate. Like I said, everybody has hope. But there are some questions that we have to pose. That I will be at training camp, but I'm going to be looking for these. And I'll be answering it with the content that I cover with this team, but we have to pose them. So let's talk about it. Denny J said, nice shirt. Appreciate it. King Dragon, what up, though? Superback, what up, though? Justice, what up, though? Saying put the Panthers on the new NCAA win something. You going to put an NFL team on college football? Everybody playing that college football. Man, I haven't had time to play video games in so long. I got a VR headset, and I play a little bit, but I barely have time to do that. The free time that I do have, I spend it trying to make content. That's my new hobby and pastime, man. You know what I'm saying? I haven't really played video games consistently since grad school. I got an Xbox 360S or something, whatever it is. I don't know. In there, collecting dust. I don't even know if they make games for that no more. But it's in there collecting dust. The last Madden I owned was Madden 13. That's the last game I bought. It's been a minute. But I know I love seeing the jokes. I love the memes. I'm glad everybody's enjoying the return of NCAA. I love the fact that everybody's enjoying the return of NCAA football on the game system. Jalen said he got it playing right now while you watch it. That's a good combo. Put me in the background. Put your NCAA game on there. Your Road to Glory, your Dynasty. Cool. He said, hey, yo, Dunk, come down to the Southern Pacific coast in Mexico. And I'll show you around. Southern Pacific. Where is I actually do have a vacation coming up soon to Mexico. Uh, but it's not the south. It's in the I'm going to Cabo. I'll be in Cabo. I don't know how close that is to where you talking about, but I'll be in Cabo. Yeah, man, gotta be the road to glory. I ain't played in a minute, but I know how it go. Aver, what up, though? Gotta run and share. I'll be in Cabo, man. Unfortunately, I'll be missing the first couple of days of training camp. Puerto Escondo. Mm. Yeah, I'll be in Cabo St. Lucas, I guess. So I'll be there. I'll be missing the first couple of days of training camp, but I will be there. Probably 12 out of the 15 days of camp. Y'all know how I do. I just had bad planning on my vacation. But regardless, let's get into some of these questions, man. Let's get into some of these questions because I got them. You got them. But let's talk about it. The first question I have for the Panthers going into training camp is what the heck will this defense look like and will it be up to par? Now, the Panthers have gone through a lot of changes this offseason in terms of the defense, man. Of course, we know the trade of Brian Burns, but not just that. They let Jeremy Chin walk. They let Dante Jackson go in a trade for Deontay Johnson. They let Frankie Louvu test the market, and he liked the market. He passed the market tested him, and he passed with flying colors. He got a pretty good deal and got to go play in a better scheme up in Washington with the Commandos. So we know there was a lot of changes. And for better or for worse, whether you like these players or not, these are key members of this team that left. These are people that have been here the past 3-4 seasons that have been part of the identity of this defense. So what will this defense look like without those guys? Brian Burns was homegrown talent. Jeremy Chin was homegrown. Dante Jackson was homegrown. Frankie Louvu was a diamond in the rough that we found. And you losing some star power. And it seems like we're going to be going the scheme over talent approach. You know what I'm saying? Scheme over talent approach because, look, there's not a ton of there's some names, but not a ton of names to write home about. Derek Brown, we know he's a top 10 defensive tackle. I personally feel like J.C. Horn, when healthy, is a top 5, top 10 corner when healthy. He has that talent. Xavier Woods, I think he's top 15, top 12 at his position. There's some names and some guys, but for the most part, there's just guys. But like I said, the scheme over talent approach. It's been rumored, but that's been Avero's approach anyway. Scheme over talent. Doing your job. Showing up. Executing. Staying in your gap. Getting pressure. Putting up blitzes that get guys free to go. Doing your job to the best of your ability. So that's going to be it's a lot of pressure on the Giro Avero to get the most out of the talent they do have. And the depth last year was definitely tested. And they still put up some valiant efforts. The defense was competitive, but not great. Competitive, which is good enough for a lot of teams across the league. But when our offense was as bad as it is, it's not really good enough. But it was competitive. So what will it look like this year, though, with that much change? You add a Josie Jewell. You add a Jordan Fuller. You add a Jadeveon Clowney. You get a Shaq Thompson back. You add a Dane Jackson. What will it look like? What will that pass rush look like up front? What will you get from Jadeveon Clowney? What will you get from DJ Wanham? DJ Wanham, he's not even healthy yet. And I think Avera saying that in the chat. Is he going to be ready for training camp? We don't know. He missed all of OTAs. He had a procedure on his quad. This is a guy that people were saying was going to replace Burns because he gave you 8 sacks, just like Burns, and he cost a fraction of the price. That's not how the math works. But you're not even going to be able to find out what you got if he's not on the field. I love Jadeveon. South Point product. South Carolina Gamecock product. Coming back home. The story is great. Solid year last year with the Ravens. Some of his best numbers. But he didn't play but what? 57% of the snaps? He wasn't an every down DN or edge. He's older. So it's going to be a rotation. And even on those 57% of the snaps, 75% of the snaps that he did play were pass plays. Not saying he can't stop the run, but he was out there to get after that quarterback, and he was able to do that. Okay, now removed from that vaunted Ravens system. Without players around, how will he do? Can he carry the mail? You lost Louvu, you lost Burns. That's 13 and a half sacks gone. Gone to other teams. You only had 27 sacks last year. 13 and a half is half the sacks. Half the sacks are on somebody else's team. Where is this pressure going to come from? How will this defense be able to maintain and do what it needs to do without knowing for sure where the pressure will come from? So what will his defense look like? I'm not sure, but we need to find out. It's going to take a hell of a job from Avero. A hell of a job. A hell of a job. That was question 1. Kelly said, I thought it was just 5 questions. That was question 1. I elaborate a little bit, but that was question 1. Our biggest weakness on offense. Biggest weakness on offense is probably tight end, in my opinion. Biggest weakness on offense is probably tight end. Dan Floyd, what up, though? If you guys have any questions, man, drop them in the chat. I'll get to them after the 5 questions. Question number 2. On offense, will the Panthers be able to establish an identity during training camp? Will they? Because we've heard a lot about wanting to run the ball, starting with running the ball. Looking forward to be showing how stubborn he can be with running the ball. Jesus. Why is my camera tweaking? Dude, my camera's tweaking. All right. But I had to switch that off. I don't know what's going on. It's a good identity. Running the ball is a great identity. I like the idea. I like the point of being stubborn. You're able to set up play action. You're taking pressure off the offensive line and pass pro. You're controlling the clock, protecting that defense that I just said we won't know what it looks like. But we got to find an identity. And and the running the ball, it's tough in training camp because one, you're not wearing pads every day. Two, everybody's not going balls to the wall like they normally do against another opponent running the ball. You kind of take it easy. It's human nature. You're going to push guys around, but you don't want to get anybody hurt. So it's going to be hard to really get a full feel of the running game in camp. We'll see how it is in preseason. We'll see how it is in joint practices, taking advantage of those opportunities to compete. But what else? What else around the ball? Are we going to be able to establish that, to be able to hang our hat on? Because you're going to be going against the same front, that 5-man front or the 3-4 defense, whatever, every day. You're going to be going against guys that you know every day. Can we establish it that way? Are we going to be okay against teams that run a 4-man front? The Jets are going to come in. They're going to run a 4-man front. Are we going to be able to establish the identity of wanting to run the ball in camp? Like I said, the Bucs, they struggled with running the ball. They struggle. So that's why it's a question for me. Will they be able to establish that run-first identity? Are we going to be able to find the right scheme? Are we going to be able to get something out of Miles? Out of Penny? Is Brooks going to be healthy? Can Chuba lead the mail again in the contract year? Are we going to be able to establish that running game like they want to? Are we going to be able to establish that identity? And if we do, then what? You know? Who are we? We got to find out who we are as an offense. We can say we want to run the ball, but if that's not our ministry, we got to find out. So that's the question for me. It sounds good on paper, but we got to go out there and execute. We got to go out there and execute and run that ball and want to run the ball and commit to it and execute. That's what I'm saying. I want to see how that offensive line gels together. We put a lot of money. We put a lot of size up front. And it ain't just to protect Bryce. It's to lean on some defenses and run the ball. Lean on them. Throw somebody out the club. Create some lanes. Get nasty. Set the tone. Mindset. It's a mindset. Get out there and dominate the guy in front of you. I would love for a redemption year from Miles Sanders. He's in my doghouse, but I would love nothing more for him to bounce back. I did not see Chuba Hubbard taking his lunch money and cookies last year and becoming the starter. And I love Chuba. I'm a Chuba truther. But Miles Sanders' contract in this second year almost makes him untradeable, uncuttable. Maybe they try to move him to a team that needs a running back. I doubt it. If they're really going to run the ball as much as they say they will, Miles could be a factor. I would love for Miles to be a factor. I would love a bounce back from him. I would. It would be right on time. Right on time. Now, where does Jonathan Brooks come in? Who knows? Talked to Vashti last night. Vashti heard from Carolina Blitz. Shout out to Vashti. She says she wouldn't be surprised to see Jonathan Brooks start out on the PUP list. And that's a little bit disappointing for me because I got high hopes for the rookie. Not right away, but down the line. Down the line. But I would love to see him get in there. He don't have to be the bona fide starter. I think next year he'll naturally progress into that. But I want to see him on the field as soon as possible. We don't have to rush him. We don't have to press him in. But I would love to see him on the field. Do I think Chuba got the job on a technicality? No. I just think that Chuba was the most effective, consistent and effective. So it was a natural progression that happened with Miles Sanders. Yeah, it's smart. It's the smart thing to do, not to rush him. But the pup list, he could come off at any time if I'm not mistaken. But that would be a letdown for me, just because I like Brooks. I'm excited to see him run. I would love for it to be during training camp because that's the only time I get to see them practice up close. So I would love to be able to see him spin. Obviously, it was clear. They said it was cleared. So he cleared sometime this month to run. But we'll see. My next question: will a dependable cornerback to emerge from this group, or are they going to have to go to free agency? Cornerback 2 is probably my biggest concern on this team. If you had to ask me, offense, defense, special teams combined, what is my biggest concern? What's keeping me up at night? What's making me lose sleep? It's that cornerback number 2. And no shade to any of those guys in the room, but they're just not proven. They are just not proven. Love him or hate him, Dante Jackson was an experienced corner. You at least knew what you were getting from Dante. It may not all be good. It may be a lot of bad at times, but you at least knew what you were getting from Dante Jackson. There's something to be said about knowing what you have in a guy that's experienced, that's seen a lot of football. Right now, we got Dane Jackson. Was probably assumed to be that starter. You got Deshaun Jameson, DiCaprio Boodle, got some experience last year. Not a lot of household names. Is J.C. Horn, he's doing the heavy lifting for this cornerback room. He's doing the heavy lifting for this cornerback room. And I love JC. I fully expect him to be healthy, but you just never know. You need depth. Because any of these guys could end up being cornerback 1 at any moment. If JC goes down, any of these guys could be your cornerback 1 at any moment. And life will definitely come at you fast. So how long will it take? Will they make a move before camp? Will it take them a few days to see some people getting cooked before they go get a corner? Because pass rush was a looming question for them last year. Obviously, a different GM. You know? But they signed Justin Houston later on during camp. So is it a situation like that where you wait for a vet? Like, do you wait for Gilmore or do you bring him in before camp? Howard from the Dolphins, former Dolphin, he's out there. Odori Jackson, they're out there. All experienced guys, still available. Like, do you wait until deeper in camp to see what you got before you make that move? What do you do? So I just want to figure out if somebody's going to emerge to make them feel good about not getting a vet, or are they going to have to go to that vet market and see what they got? Because there's not a ton of money to go around currently. But desperate times can call for desperate measures. Desperate times can definitely go with desperate measures. Said I think our pass rush is not going to be any good this year. We don't have anyone to to rush the quarterback or create pressures for sacks. It's going to be by committee. They're going to have to blitz. They're going to have to do something. They're going to have to be a lot more aggressive in some of their play calls. Said all that speed and he was barbecue chicken. Yeah, pup is physically unable to play or participate, whatever you want to say. It's basically when you're injured. You didn't get injured like during, you know what I'm saying? You didn't get injured during it. It's for guys that get injured before football happens. Not really necessarily non-football. There's a non-football injury list at NFI, but there's injuries for guys that are injured from last year, or it's not like, it's kind of like injured reserve per se, but for the off season. But you can bring them off at any time. But there's some options out there. How long will it take them to make a move? That's my question. How long will it take them to make a move? Because like I said, remember, Justin Houston didn't work out. It didn't work out, of course. But he was a vet that they went to later on during camp and picked him up. Next question. Will the Panthers pay Eddie Pinheiro, or will this holdout drag out? The fact that we're talking about a kicker holdout is just how weird and wacky things have been for this team. Weird and wacky. Eddie Pinheiro as a kicker, solid kicker. Doesn't have the strongest leg, but has been fairly accurate below 50. His percentage is up there with the best of them. His salary is not. Eddie Pinheiro is the 22nd highest paid kicker in the NFL. Now, does Eddie deserve a pay raise for what he's done? Probably. Does his contract match his value? Probably not. But a holdout seems a little ambitious, personally. But does Eddie Pinheiro report to training camp? That is the question. Because I don't think he has a huge salary to the point that you can take suffering fines. You know what I'm saying? On an average year basis, he's getting $2 million. On an average year basis, he's getting $2 million. Base salary of $2 million. Signing bonus $545. Cap number is $2,545. I mean, they could cut him, and they'd be fine. They'd only lose only $695,000 in dead money. Not a lot. Not a lot. And so, will he report? Will he report to camp? That's the question. Because the Panthers sure did bring in some competition. The thicker kicker. The thicker kicker was signed to a pretty solid contract for a guy that's undrafted coming out of school. Very strong leg. Not as consistent on the accuracy standpoint. They've made contingency plans for Eddie Pinheiro. They made contingency plans. Call it a contingency plan. Call it competition. The thicker kicker is here. And they signed him to a deal that he's going to have a very, very solid chance of making this team. He's going to have every opportunity to battle it out with Eddie to see what happens. Now, the kicker market, man, is changing. We just saw Dustin Hopkins Get a contract worth $5.3 million per year. Not saying Eddie will get that number, but it pushes the average, it pushes the ceiling. The more guys get paid, Eddie sees that as his peers. So he wants to be ballpark. The interesting thing would be like, what would Eddie get on the open market? If Eddie hit the market, what would happen? Like, what would he get the number that he wants? Would he get the number that he wants right away? Would he find an opportunity right away? I don't know. Like I said, the leg strength is not there. The accuracy from shorter distances is there. That can't be denied. The clutch factor, he owes us one. Let's be real. Eddie owes us one in the clutch department. So, I don't know. Does he deserve the money? Maybe. Does he deserve it from us? I'm going to say the thicker kicker, we may have to end up taking our chances with him. A kicker holdout just seems wild. Wild. So we can't cut another good kicker. We won't. We won't. I'm going to tell you right now. Whichever direction we go, we won't. We won't. I'm going to tell you that. I've already said it. Too many good kickers in the USFL for a holdout. Exactly. Them USFL kickers, strong legs, man. They booting like crazy. There's a lot of randos booting like crazy. Everybody in the comments rooting for the thicker kicker. Kevin Comstock, what up, though? Says a rebuild division and we're in it, y'all. True. Everybody got questions. Everybody got changes. It's anybody's ball game in my eyes. Where are we on that totem pole? We'll find out. Eddie could get traded, though. A good kicker got to be worth a third. No. We're not getting a third for Eddie. I'm sorry. Maybe a 7th or a 6th-round pick swap. I don't know. But I just don't think there's a ton of value. One, for the kicker position, but two, for Eddie, who is a probably middle-of-the-pack kicker. Solid, like I said, for shorter distances. But the leg, that strong leg is important. It's important, man. It changes your game plan. If I get nervous about my offense and I'm at the 35-yard line because, can I just send my kicker out there and feel good about it? If that plays a factor, you ain't all that. I'm sorry. If it's 4th and 10 from the 35-yard line, and I'm concerned if you got it in you from 52, that's a problem. Whether I feel like I'm good to send you out there or not, that's a problem. Punting from the 35-yard line in the modern NFL, it's not a good scenario to be in. So we'll see. Question number 5. My biggest training camp question. How will Bryce Young handle training camp number 2, in particular in a new system? Now, if you know me, you guys know I do not like talking about Bryce at this point in the offseason. There's a lot of ignorance that gets spewed. There's a lot of just whatever conversations that barely need to be had. There's only certain conversations that can be had in terms of Bryce. Until we see him coming up, the conversations are redundant and annoying, personally. I apologize, but they are. We're going to find out. That's the thing about it. We're going to find out soon and very soon about Bryce. So all the petty BS that's been going around, that has to do with last year and whatever, and the pressure and all this, that we're going to find out. But it is a question going into camp that has to be mentioned. Word on the street is he appears to be more comfortable. I know his leadership style has been under fire or question or the microscope. People are freaking out about that. But word on the street is he seems a lot more comfortable with himself, with the team, with the teammates, with the coaches. That's a good thing. And I said it last night. I don't want Bryce to be inauthentic because everybody says he needs to be a verbal leader. I want him to be himself. Real can relate to real. If you're real, people will be real with you. The real ones will gravitate to you. They'll see that. And then you can take that natural progression. 22 years old. You're finding out who you are as a person, as a man, as a player in this league. There's still a lot to be established. So I have no problem with Bryce Young being who he is, making connections with his teammates, not necessarily being the biggest vocal leader on the team, but leading in his own way. But all that being said, how does he handle this new system? How does he handle the new system? Your second system and your second year. I like the fact that there was no draft this year. There's no draft this year. No pre-draft process. No working out, doing the combine tests. All that press runs and all that stuff that he had, all those obligations. No, it's just ball. Season's over. You rest, get healthy. You work on your game. The coach gets hired. You get with the coaches from off-season workouts and OTAs. The voluntary stuff, you're there. The stuff that rookies don't necessarily get to go to, you get to go to. Work out, play ball, chill with your teammates. Meet your teammates. Meet your coaches. Get in the playbook. Watch film of what you did last year in the NFL and learn from it. He couldn't do that last year. He couldn't watch film of himself last year. But he can this year. Watch film from last year, learn from it, learn from those mistakes. See what he did well, see what he didn't do well. So being able to have that full off season, that's why a lot of times you see a lot of these guys have that big second year jump. All the draft chaos is out the way. Like I said, no combine, no pro days, no visits, no meetings. Nah, OTAs, voluntary workouts, meeting with the team, getting in the playbook, watching tape, working with the coaches, working out on your own with your teammates, putting in more work in the weight room with yourself, gaining weight, changing your body. Another year older, another year wiser. I'm expecting good things. Now, how do you quantify that? I don't know. I don't know what the stats are going to be because, like I said, I don't even know what our identity. We talked about them finding the identity. So it's really hard for me to project stats when I'm a betting man. So, yeah, I will lay money one way or the other. But that's just off of me betting and gut. And it's not anything definite or concrete that I could put on wax as far as numbers-wise. But I definitely expect improvement. I expect more command. I expect more confidence. I expect more of a resemblance of a competent NFL offense. I do. I really do. And I think, like I said, just a natural progression of another year in the league will do more for him. Getting more weapons, a coaching system. What will he look like in this system? The footwork is going to be altered a little bit. We'll see. The coaching points are going to be different. How does he absorb that? How does he absorb that? How does he apply that? How does he put that on the field into action? These are all questions that we're going to want to see. When will he get comfortable? When will we see that light bulb go off? When will we see it click? Like, okay, I understand the system. Because he's learning with everybody else. Everybody else is learning it with him. So it's not just that rookie learning curve. Nah. New coaching staff for everybody on offense. So they're going to learn and grow together. Learn and grow together. I'm ready to see it. He and Icky both need to watch last year's film. 1,000%. 1,000%. But yeah, those are my 5 biggest questions, man. 5 biggest questions. I know it drug out, and there were questions within the questions that turned into more questions. But that's my 5 biggest questions. Let me get the comments. So him playing well enough is going to be plenty for the team coming around. Exactly. Once success, it's a lot easy to find your way and be that guy when you're winning. And not just like, oh, he's only a front runner. Bryce Young's only a front runner. No, I mean, it's new. It's new for him. It's new. He always takes blame, so it's not like he's not holding himself accountable. But he probably feels weird having to lead and say certain things or maybe call somebody out when you're not playing well and the whole team's not playing well. It's tough. It's tough. See, people are making way too much about Clowney's quote, especially when he wasn't there for a good chunk of the offseason program. That's true. That's true. Not to mention Clowney is on defense, so it's you don't spend as much time with him either as you do with some of your other guys. You don't. So I remember it not being that easy to replace the kicker. Yeah. Cam told him, man, he was like, man, it's going to be all right. Cam told him it's going to be all right. Cam also said he had concerns about all the turnover and change in Carolina at the player's expense, in particular Bryce. So he felt bad for Bryce. Just because the lack of stability. The lack of stability at the front office. Mark Burks, this is true. This is true. I think another question though is like the depth. The depth of the whole team in general, though. We lack depth in a lot of places. I don't know. What's the deepest position we have? Running back? Is that the deepest position we have on the team? Outside of that, we lack depth pretty much everywhere. Unfortunately, the only place we have depth at is running back. So there's a lot of vulnerable positions on this team in terms of injuries. But I do feel what you're saying in terms of offensive line. We did bring in a swing tackle. We do have Brady Christensen on the bench, so I feel good about him as a depth piece. But I understand your concern. We need to figure out that O-line depth. I don't think it's being talked about enough. We need to figure out the O-line depth. Because that 7, 8 starters at guard like last year, that's a recipe for disaster. Fortunately, Damian Lewis was only missed like what, one game last year? Missed one game the year before. He's played a lot of snaps. A lot of snaps. Now, Robert Hunt did miss, what, 6 games last year? He did get hurt last year. But Damian Lewis is a guy that's been dependable, been healthy. Taylor Moton, a guy that's been healthy. Ike Ekwonu, he's been healthy the first 2 years. Knock on wood. We'll be all right in the health department, hopefully. But I agree with you. We're an injury away from it getting scary at a lot of positions. We're injury away from a lot of positions being scary. I haven't finished the Canales book yet. I haven't finished it. Kellen, I haven't finished it yet. I'll be traveling soon, so I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna finish listening to it on the plane. Say he should come out aggressive. He's a great player, but needs a little more aggression. Football is an aggressive sport. We need to feel him and his energy. It'll help out the team energy too. I agree. The team is gonna feed off of him. I think some energy will help. Like I said, I think success helps that energy as well. So you want to see our linebacker tandem with Shaq and Joseph grow some chemistry. We've heard Shaq talk about that. Talk about Josie being smart and experienced in his system. I feel good about the linebacker position. So Bryce is coming in bigger, stronger, faster. That 9-to-5 connection is going to surprise some people. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Deontay. Yeah, Canales he has a book. Him and his wife wrote a book. But a couple of news nuggets. We talked about the lack of edge help. Marquise Haynes, the former Panther edge rusher, he tweeted out a picture of Goku in the tank, I guess healing up or whatever, getting right. Pretty much saying that he's on the mend, but getting right for a comeback. Does he want to come back and be a Panther? I don't know. He had that scary injury against Jacksonville last year. I don't know if it was a head injury or what. He's dealt with like chronic back issues as well. So I don't know, but he's a guy that's given us. We know what he can do. He's not a full-time starter, but he's a rotational. Is that somebody the Panthers kicking the tires on? It wouldn't be crazy to me. It wouldn't be crazy to me to do it. It wouldn't. But we'll see. The Panthers need help. But we need somebody that can stay. We need help, healthy help. Healthy help. Hard to say that 3 times fast. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on Ayuk requesting a trade? I'd love to try for it, but I don't even know what we could have given up for him. Brandon Ayuk did request a trade officially today. Reports have said that teams that have contacted the 49ers are saying that they have no interest in trading him. I don't think anybody has interest in trading anybody until they make the move, right? We wanted to resign Brian Burns until we couldn't figure something out. The 49ers are going to try to figure something out, but drafting Ricky Pearsall was the move for sure. It was definitely a move. So clearly there's a contingency plan in place. They're prepared for the worst. But they're trying to win a Super Bowl. So what would the price be for Brandon Ayuk? You got to expect the first. And when you pay him, you're probably going to be paying anywhere between $25 to $30 million. That's what receivers are going for these days. Now, for the Panthers, how does this work out? I don't know. Do you give him a second? You got 2 seconds. Do you throw a second and a fifth? Because apparently guys are you can talk guys down from first round picks if they need a contract. That's what they told me about Brian Burns. The fact that a player wants a contract lowers their value. That's what I was told. I think it was just bad negotiating tactics. Regardless, had we gotten the first round pick in the Brian Burns trade, it would make it a lot easier to make a trade for Ayuk when you had two of them. Just saying. But would it take a first? Probably. Because a smart franchise like the 49ers understands that they have a talent that's coveted. And you maximize the return. You owe it to your team. You owe it to your franchise to maximize the return. Other teams aren't in the business of giving away talent and doing favors to teams in the league like we are. Do the Panthers need a wide receiver? Yes. They need talent everywhere. Everywhere. Does it make sense for them to make the move? That's arguable because next year is a very deep cornerback class, an edge rushing class, and Lord knows we need that. We just spent the 30 minutes of this stream talking about the cornerback 2 depth and the pass rush. So I understand wanting to hold on to that pick. I get it. But if it's just like we need to see what we got. We've been seeing what we got for years. You tried to replace DJ Moore in the draft last year. That didn't work. You tried to piecemeal it by committee. It didn't work. Making a trade to replace a guy that you traded away, look, formidable idea. So we allow Brandon Ayuk to suck right now or get kind of mediocre, and boom, we could pick him up for what the Giants pick Burns if we even still need him. I don't see Ayuk having a bad year, personally. I think a lot of you guys forget that the reason that Brian Burns didn't have the numbers was, one, he was hurt. Two, we weren't winning many games. So if you don't have a lead, it's hard to rush the passer. So you're not going to always produce. Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers, I fully expect them to be in the NFC Championship, if not in the Super Bowl. And if that's the case, Brandon Ayuk is the best wide receiver they have on their team. He is going to have a good year, whether it's for them or for whomever. Brandon Ayuk is going to have a good team. 25-year-old ascending young wide receiver, one of the best route runners in the league. Brandon Ayuk is going to have a good year. I don't see him having a bad year. That's just me. But just sitting on the sideline, sitting on your hands, trying to draft and develop, but missing on guys year after year, it gets old. We always find a reason not to do something. I'm just talking as fans. We find every reason not to do something and think it's a smart move. But the alternative never works out. The alternative never works out. Where's the aggressiveness? Where's the decisiveness? You know? That's my opinion. That's my opinion. You know? You acquire talent as it becomes available. So the wide receiver market is crazy. It's way more valuable to the Panthers to develop who they got in a good group. I mean, we've been trying to develop receivers since the beginning of the time. If it was that valuable, if it was that valuable to develop, we wouldn't have traded for Deontay and drafted somebody. They're trying to do something. We've been, like I said, let's seeing what we got for years. I'm just saying. I don't think it's realistically going to happen, but I'm just saying. I'm tired of trying to talk myself out of this stuff or rationalizing mediocrity. It ain't fun. I'm ready for our team to be good again. You remember how fun? I mean, it's been a long time. Do you remember how fun it was to actually be good and competitive for the division? I'm ready for that again. We need good players to do that. Rationalizing this funk, rationalizing the lack of success, rationalizing sitting on your hands and not making moves, not improving the team. I don't know, man. Who do I feel they should pick up for player personnel? I'm pretty sure it's going to be promoted from within. They did sign a scout today from, I think, Philly. But I think they're going to promote from within. I'm pretty sure they're going to promote from within for that VP position. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't think the 49ers ultimately let him go. I think they're going to pay him. I personally think the 49ers will pay him. I think demanding a trade was just to expedite the process. I think they're going to pay him. Now, what that number is, I don't know. They haven't had a ton of conversation. But we saw them take a while to sign Bosa. They have Brock Purdy coming up. That's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy because how good do you think Brock Purdy is? He's had success, but I think everybody around the NFL is under the same impression that the team kind of elevates Brock Purdy. So how much do they give Brock Purdy? So they have that's an indefinite, I mean, that's an undefined number that's in the air. They just gave CMC that bag. I mean, like I said, they drag these contract dealings out sometimes. So I ultimately think he'll get paid. But I'm just talking, it's just worth the discussion, in my opinion, in terms of how the Panthers have approached the franchise, how we as fans have rationalized a lot of this stuff just because we love the team. If there was a young DN on the market, the young DN was Brian Burns. The young DN on the market was Brian Burns. He gone, man. The young DN on the market was Brian Burns, man. Trading the guy away just to trade for somebody else. Trading away DJ Moore just to try to scramble to find wide receivers. It's chasing your tail, man. Trade away DJ Moore. Now receiver is a big hole that we allocate assets to. Trade away Brian Burns. Did not get equal assets, but now we got to chase the ghosts, trying to find an answer. You plug one hole and two leaks pop up right behind it. It's the life of a Panthers fan, guys. Here we are. But all right, guys, I'm going to sign off. We got not too far away for training camp. Soon and very soon, guys. We almost there, man. Hold out hope. We're going to get some exciting new content. I know we kind of had that little moment of the offseason. I know. We drag it along. But we're a week out. We are a week out. 8 days from now, training camp will be starting. This time, not next week, but the week after next, I'll be sweating my butt off in Charlotte. I will be. I won't be at the first couple days, but like I said, I'll be there for the remainder. So y'all know I'm on it. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Charlie XL, man, I appreciate you tuning in, man. It seems like this is your first time commenting pretty frequently. Appreciate you. Appreciate you the back and forth, bro. It's all love, man. Appreciate the banter. Shout out to my guy, homie. My intro beat on the Panther Banter podcast. That's produced by my guy, Homie Got Beats. The sample, Eddie Kane beat. Shout out to everybody that tuned in, man. I love y'all. See y'all in the next one. I'll holla.